You're listening to the Breakaway Wealth Podcast, the show that helps you build wealth faster, think outside the box, and break out of the herd. Here's your host, Jim Oliver.
Welcome back, Breakaway Wealth. I'm your host, Jim Oliver, and with me today, my co-host, Nick Kosko. Welcome, Nick.
Always a pleasure to be back in the studio with you.
Absolutely. And, we're recording in the winter here in Florida, and I'm over it. So
Yeah.
I'm not getting any sympathy from you.
No, it's 5 degrees here. There's more snow on the ground. Mama is not happy. Animals aren't happy on the farm. We'll trade you.
I know. And it's funny, as I was watching some football over the weekend and looking at the snow and thinking, oh, I do not miss that. I do not miss anything about winter. So, but thinking in winter and thinking kind of towards the beginning of the year, you start to think to yourself, what is it that separates people, and what are, success leaves clues, right? And when you look at really successful, really productive people, there's certain things that they do. And I did this in one of our noon live meetings for our community, Create Tailwind. And every Monday at noon for 20 to 30 minutes, we share something. And sometimes people have ideas, and sometimes we just go off of different topics that people have requested in the past. And people requested this one, Nick. And you and I are just going to go through it step by step. There's 10 things that highly productive people do as a group to be highly productive, highly successful. And if you're highly productive, you're highly successful, you're probably going to be highly happy. Is there a highly
happy, joy, right?
Happy, joy, right? So let's just dive in. Number one is goal setting. Clearly defining your goals and creating an actionable plan to achieve them. So everybody's heard of SMART goals, right? And, that's kind of like a criteria, Nick, like specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. I've heard this for 40 years or more, but, I agree with specific. I agree with measurable. I agree with relevant. I agree with time-bound. Achievable is a different thing, because sometimes I think you got to stretch yourself. But talk about goal setting and what you feel like goal setting. What's something that you want to add to that?
Well, we're goal-oriented creatures, right? And we need to set a course some way. And the thing that I would encourage everyone when you're writing down goals is that you're willing to erase them and make it bigger, like you said. So your believement on the achievable will evolve over time. If you can't picture it to start with, I would actually encourage you. Sometimes we draw a goal that's just, the bridge is too far in our minds. We don't have a bucket for that.
Yeah.
And that's okay. So just take it down a notch, or take it down 20 notches, something that advances the football. Mm. And Jim, we could all write down at the gym that we want to be a black belt in jiu-jitsu, right? If that's the only thing I think about every day, there's a chance that I'll be annoyed that I didn't get it today.
Right.
So, but if I just think about, hey, advancing in the thing that I'm working on and getting a little bit better today, then the impossible becomes the possible as you advance.
No, I like that. Let's go with an example of the jiu-jitsu, okay? Because I was going to do an example of weight loss, but people probably get tired of hearing me that, or lifting weights or something. But let's say that, how long would it take us to be, what's the average that it takes somebody to become a black belt in jiu-jitsu?
12 to 15 years.
Okay, 12 to 15 years. So we have a 12 to 15 year goal. But let's just, to make the everything rounded, let's say we were going to make it in the next 10 years. Okay. So in the next 10 years, we would map out everything that we need to do, all of the progression, right? Again, very specific.
Yep.
So and then it would come all the way down to what we need to do today. And I would assume that something that I need to do today is maybe I need to eat enough before I go to jujitsu, but I need to go to jujitsu because it's my scheduled day. So I'm going to go to jujitsu 3 days a week or 4 days a week, or how many ever times a week that I need to go to accomplish my goal in 10 years, right?
Right.
So then I would have now a 10-year goal, a 5-year goal, a 3-year goal, a 1-year goal, a monthly goal, a weekly goal, and a daily goal. And it would be actionable. The daily goals are actionable. Those are things, because as we get into this, this is we'll keep this example going. Okay. But when we get into this, is we need to know, what do I need to do today? Because if I want to have abs, okay, I've like said that, I already took the picture, I've got abs, and I'm now trying to keep them. Now the goal is to keep them. And funny. After yesterday, I would say I moved away from the abs.
That's funny.
But it's very specific to what I want, right?
Sure.
And so the first thing is you got to set that goal. We want to be a black belt. That's the goal. Okay. Now, everything that I just said, you have to have these actions. Well, to have actions, you got to have some kind of time management, right?
That's
You've
right.
got to have a calendar. I just happened to see in your calendar that in an hour and a half from right now when we're recording, you're going to go to a jujitsu class, right?
Yep.
But highly productive people. Now, to be a black belt in jujitsu, you would have to be highly productive, right?
No doubt.
No doubt, right? I mean, there's not very many people walking around that say, I'm a black belt in jujitsu. Okay, so high achievers, that's a high achiever. You have to have those tasks based on two things: urgency and importance. Okay, so urgency and important. Hey, that's important, but it's not urgent. So there's something called the Eisenhower matrix. And yep, you could guess it. Dwight Eisenhower used this, okay? So this template, it has 4 quadrants. I know there's a lot of people in the audience that's already heard of this, but just remember, we're just going to go through this quickly because you got to have something. When I was doing this in the live meeting, there were 2 people on there that said, I use the Franklin system, right? The Franklin time management system. You can use whatever time management system you want, but you got to have one. Okay.
Right.
So in just quickly, for people that haven't heard of this, Eisenhower, that urgent, 1 quadrant, urgent and important. Then the next one is important, but not urgent. The other one is urgent, but not important. And then the 4th one is neither urgent nor important. Now, what do you think you do with those ones? So it helps you focus on what truly matters, and it manages your time more effectively.
Right.
You have to have a calendar. If you do not, in my calendar, it says 5 a.m. workout, right? If I'm going to work out at 5 a.m., guess what time I get up? 4:30.
Yeah.
It's in there. If I decide I'm taking the day off, guess what? The alarm still goes off.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, so we have time management. We have our goals. The third thing that high achievers have is continuous learning. Okay, so now we have our jiu-jitsu goal, black belt. We have all of the classes for the next 10 years in some kind of time management system. Okay, even if it's in our head, we're going to go 4 days a week, 3 days a week. These are the times I like to go. I want to go at 5 a.m. I want to go at noon. I want to go whatever it is. I have a system. Doesn't mean it's not going to change. Just remember that. And that's going to be one of the next steps. But continuous learning. I got to commit to learning. Seeking new knowledge through reading and courses and mentorship and jujitsu classes, right? I mean, but I got to read about it too, because I got to stay motivated nobody wants to do something for 10 years and not learn more about what it means to be a black belt in jiu-jitsu. What are the benefits that I'm going to get? How am I going to feel? Talk about that for a minute.
Yeah, it's fascinating to me, Jim, that these black belts, they use about just 20 moves.
Yeah.
And like if you get on the internet, start scrolling on Instagram, you'll find, everybody and their brother is showing you fancy moves, people jumping up, grabbing, choking you out all of a sudden with their feet. And yet these guys that are masters of it, it looks almost boring.
Yeah.
And there's this thing, like you show up and you might get 40, 50 classes under your belt and you go, all right, I got it. And you almost might feel like, hey, I don't need to keep learning because you've been training with the same people. And then you get pushed, you get humbled really quickly. And Nelson talks about it in his book, This Arrival Syndrome.
Yeah.
I just really think when I hear the black belts talk, every one of them that I've ever talked with, they always say, I didn't start learning jujitsu until I got my black belt.
You've said that to me. It's so funny, Nick, because, we're talking about high achievers. Black belts are high achievers. Yep. And as I'm sitting here looking at our list and you're saying like what they say, that was number 3, continuous learning. Number 4 is discipline and consistency. Top performers, they cultivate self-discipline. I'm going to do these 20 moves over and over again. And they maintain consistent habits. I'm going to bet the guys that are there at 5 a.m. are always the same guys that are there at 5 a.m.s. And they have routines. And I notice this about people. I love the people watch, but even at the jiu-jitsu gym, when I've been there watching your kids, they set their bag down the same way. They put their shoes on the same way, but their routines align with their goals. What that does is when your motivation wanes, and it will, okay? Last week, my motivation on working out waned. Today, not so much. I kicked ass today. So when it wanes, the routine, the reason I got through last week is I had my trainer, I had stretching, I had massage, I had all that same stuff. And I just had to get through it. I don't know why I'm feeling the way I'm feeling this week, but guess what? I'm just going to have that, my routine and the discipline that comes from that, and got me the consistency that I need to even make progress last week, even when I didn't feel like it.
It's funny, in jiu-jitsu, there's only 5 belts. Okay.
Yeah.
And your blue belt's your second belt. And I don't know what the percentage is, Jim, but I bet it's about 95% don't go past blue belt.
Yeah.
They call it the belt of life, of forever. Like it seems like you'll have your blue belt just as long as the next, the purple and the brown belt. But it's amazing because you start off and you've got all this energy and motivation, and you spend a year or two through your white belt, and then you get this blue belt, and people quit. And it's funny, I was just talking with one of my favorite training partners the other day, and he's like, "Oh man, I just feel like my jiu-jitsu is terrible." And he's got a blue belt that he got, I don't know, 6-8 months ago. And I just said, I was like, "Toussaint, man, you just keep showing up, right? Blue belt or black belt's just a white belt that never quit."
Yeah.
Just keep chopping the wood. We all feel like we regress on the mat sometimes. So you show up and you do one little thing. And that could be the hardest thing to do in anything, right?
Showing up is the hardest thing to do, right? Showing up is taking action. Getting to the gym is the hard part. Once you're at the gym.
That's right.
Nobody just stands around. I mean, sometimes they do, but you know what I mean? The hardest part is getting to the gym.
Yeah.
Because there's lots of room in your brain between the gym and home.
No doubt.
Or your bed. All right. So the 5th thing you're talking a little bit about, because you're talking about other people and talking to them, networking and relationships. And you got to build and maintain strong relationships. I mean, it's vital. I mean, successful people invest time in networking and getting that connection that can that you get collaboration and support. So like, I'll give you an example. Is I just had an assistant that didn't work out, and she would say things to me like this: "Well, I got you the 2% cottage cheese because it has less fat in it." And I would very clearly try to explain to her it has more sugar. I'm more concerned about sugar, and I'm not concerned about fat. And I want to eat like this. Being a single guy, she said, well, a woman that you would date, does she have to eat the way you eat? Like, because she's always criticizing the way that I ate, like it was boring. And, could she like have a cheeseburger if she wanted to? And I'm like, well, first of all, like the hostility in the way that you're asking this question is funny, right?
Yeah.
Is I wouldn't be attracted to somebody that just wanted to like not take care of their health. I mean, because it wouldn't be in relations. It wouldn't be that connection or a collaboration that I'm looking for. I want somebody who's going to take me to the next level in that, right? I want somebody who's going to challenge me to be better. So do I want somebody that isn't, no, I don't want, I want somebody that's going to make me better. That relationship and networking and that connection of collaboration and support. Because when she wants a cheeseburger and I tell her we're going to have, a salad, she needs that support. I mean, or we're going to go the wrong direction.
Yeah. No one's ever going to do this in a vacuum.
Right.
We're not going to get out of this thing alone. So, one of the first times I ever met you, you recommended reading Outliers.
Yeah.
Right. And Malcolm Gladwell's 10,000 hours, to be an expert is part of the conversation. And you're like, hey, use me to accelerate through those 10,000 hours and understanding Nelson's book and beyond. And could I do that alone? Tony Robbins, and he the one that says, hey, find someone that's got what you want and go nuzzle up next to him. Right.
That's right. Do what they did. Yeah.
And that's just, it works all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. The truth works all the time. I like that. Yeah.
That's funny.
So, all right. Resilience and adaptability. High achievers demonstrate the ability to bounce back from setbacks, remain flexible in their thinking, in the face of change, challenges, opportunities. They look for the ways to be flexible to keep growing. So like in jiu-jitsu, there's got to be injuries. There's got to be times where you're like, I can't get that move down, or I'm getting my butt kicked on the mat. Talk about that, maybe.
Well, I mean, 2 years ago, 5-6 months into my jiu-jitsu career, I had a catastrophic injury. I ripped 2 muscles completely off the bone. And honestly, it wasn't anybody being reckless. The most painful thing I've ever physically gone through, but I'm back on the mat. And I just kept thinking, I really have this vision of at least being progressing towards a black belt. And if I were to have quit, I'd have no chance. Right.
Yeah.
So everybody's got injuries. Like a great friend of ours, Joey, he jokingly says he's got 3 good limbs. And he is one of the baddest sons of gun on the mat as a blue belt. And he's just, whatever you can do, you just adapt. If you've got an injury, I got a shoulder that's bothering me. When I'm there training today, I will protect that. My training partner will know about it, and I'll just adapt and figure out a way to be comfortable in the uncomfortableness.
Yeah. It's kind of like, again, I use it for lifting. There's days where, like the other day, I'm embarrassed to say how much I was bench pressing because I'm so much weaker than I used to be. But
you're warming up with 225 now instead of 315?
Yeah, I wish I was warming up with 225, but it was heavier than I had done before, right?
Okay.
In this time period in my life. And I still have I still have visions of being able to bench press 315 at 60 years old and things like that. So like I have to make progression towards that. Yeah. But I got stronger, right? Then on Saturday I did dumbbells and I was like, why do these feel so heavy? Right? Like, and so there's days, but see, there's everything in life, whether we're talking about building wealth or we're talking about, and I want to talk about something because it seems like we're always talking about that. That's why we're using these other things as an example. There's always time where you feel setbacks and you have to have resilience and adaptability, number 6. But the only way to do that is number 7, in a positive attitude and belief in your capabilities. That helps you get over your obstacles and maintain motivation. Now, one of the things you and I talked about over the weekend is this concept, and we talked about it in our devotional either yesterday or today, but it's about that how long it takes for negative energy. And a thought is energy, right? Everything is energy. So if I have a negative thought, in 17 seconds, it will attract negative thoughts from other people. Negative realities, it'll attract negative realities.
Wow.
In 68 seconds, so 4 thoughts, it builds momentum. So you want to know why when you're talking to your partner or something, and all of a sudden it's like, what happened? This is what happens if they get a negative thought in their head. So negative thoughts are negative energy. Positive thoughts are positive energy. How do you get rid of negative energy? It's positive energy. So we got to start the day. We got to end the day with a positive mindset. Whether that's affirmations, whether that's prayer, whether that's meditation, whatever it is, you have to get your brain in a positive mindset. If you don't, you have no chance. You're just going to get more and more negative energy come towards you.
Just start writing down what you're grateful for.
That's exactly right.
You get to 3 or 4 and you'll have trouble getting the pen to stop.
Absolutely. Gratitude. You cannot be angry. You cannot be sad. You cannot, if you're grateful. All right. So, look, sometimes we're not healthy. Sometimes we're not, but like mentally, physically, sometimes we're in a bad place, right? But health and well-being is number 8, is the 8th trait of high achievers. And you have to prioritize your physical, your mental health through exercise, nutrition, mindfulness practices. It's super common to see super wealthy, super productive, super high performance people in good shape. And knowing, here's my routine, going back to one of the beginnings of what I did. Now, I'll tell you 2, and then I want to put this to jujitsu. Or if I were doing jujitsu, I would be doing the same things that I'm doing. Once a week, I have somebody stretch me for an hour. I do massage. I do cupping. I do the cold blade. I have her, though I hate it, break up the fascia in my muscles, right? Like use and it hurts. And she'll say, breathe through it, princess. And I'm jumping off the table.
Yep.
But then I sit in the hot tub or the sauna every day, right? The infrared sauna helps to reduce inflammation. It's relaxation. It's mindfulness.
Yep.
It changes your mindset. Okay. Great gratitude. And then the body work, it changes it. So talk about how you manage that, Nick.
Well, you got to protect yourself too. Like whether we're going to play golf or you're going to go get on the mats or you're going to walk into the gym, you just talked about it's that preparation, right? So I've learned that I don't have great strength in my scapula, don't have great flexibility there and through my pelvis. So I've been doing exercises every day. Got a little timer goes off, just one little nugget, I want to stay on the mats for a long time. If I'm going to get my black belt, I'm going to be pushing 60 when that happens. Okay, that's fine. I'm not going to say I'm going to be old then either. So, I mean, listen, Stephen Covey even talked about it in 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, is taking care of yourself. And that's being there for your partner, for your family, to your business partners, all that. It's bringing your A game to this world that God blessed us with and the opportunities before us.
Absolutely. So I love the health and well-being part of it. And, in one of the live events coming up, really going to start to connect health and wealth and all of that together. Okay. Because one of our messages is, I don't want people out there, hey, I got $1 billion, but hey, Jim, Nick, I just found out that because of my obesity, I've got these health problems. And so what does this money mean to me? I'm going to die. I don't want it to be like that. I want it to be,
yep.
Hey, because I got this, I started taking care of myself because I'm like, hey, I'm not going to run out of money now. Really want to free people. I mean, we're all about freedom and freeing your mind. So the next thing is that reflection, right? And self-awareness. So just say regularly, you have to reflect on your actions. I did this when I was going to a different gym. And you know the gym, I talked to you about it. I talked to my friend Lori about it, who was going to the same gym. And I would say, I'm not getting the results that I want to get. That's reflecting and self-awareness. Is it me? Am I just being whiny? I'm taking these actions. I've made these decisions. Here's the outcomes that I'm getting. What can I learn from that? And what adjustments do I need to make? So then I went from there to where my gym is now and my trainer is now. And it's been a godsend because Jen, she pushes me, right? I mean, I took a nap after my workout today. Don't tell her that. And then she also cooks for me. And she's an amazing cook. She's a chef. She went to culinary school. She cooked for Trump at Mar-a-Lago. I mean, like, cool. I'm eating great food, right? I'm eating great food. But I made those adjustments, and then all of a sudden I made progress. I would not have abs if I didn't make that adjustment.
All right. Number 9.
That's number 9 is
I'm sorry.
And self-awareness. So
I'm sorry. I'm at number 10.
So number 10 is action orientation, right? You got to take initiative and act decisively. Top performers are known for their willingness to take risks, step out of their comfort zones to pursue opportunities. Okay, so, hey, routine, we talked about routine, and I'm all for routine, but not getting complacent in your routine. Believing that you can do better. Again, whether it's getting stronger, whether it's jujitsu. So talk about that action orientation.
Those routines can be negative routines too.
That's right.
Is that routine giving you the result that you're looking to have?
Which is number 9, reflection and self-awareness, right?
Yeah. So it's like with Nelson, he said, we got to be willing to rethink our thinking. I've just always said it like this. I'm willing to be 100% wrong.
You've said that a million times. And I love it, by the way. You've said that a million times. I've heard you say it, and it's 100%. Yeah. Look, so you're never going to grow, right?
I mean, what's it talk about in the Bible? I wish I could just throw off a quote here, but somewhere in that Bible, it says God favors the humble. So calling to be humble, which means we got to be willing to be wrong. And it goes for all your relationships. It goes most importantly to the person you see in the mirror.
Yeah. Yeah. So Nick, let's go through the 10 again and just give me like an overall, like, what does this say to you? So number 1 is goal setting, right? Number 2 is time management. Number 3 is continuous learning. Number 4 is discipline and consistency. Number 5 is networking and relationships. Number 6 is resilience and adaptability. Number 7 is positive mindset. Number 8 is health and well-being. Number 9 is reflection and self-awareness. And number 10 is action orientation. So when I say those 10 things to you, what comes to your mind? What kind of example, what's
God didn't put us on this earth to lay up.
Yeah.
And that stuff kind of gets me fired up. It's like the admiral who wrote Make Your Bed.
Yeah.
Who gave the commencement speech at Texas in 2014. When we get up, make it count.
Yeah.
And can we sit on the couch and watch a football game, have a beer, play some cards with our kids? Absolutely.
Yeah.
All those things matter too. But I want to finish the day and be able to write down at least 3 wins. And I want those things to have been instrumental in moving me closer to my relationship with God and to the man He intended me to be.
Absolutely. So one of the things too, I want to share with people, because this is something that you've started to do, something I've started to do. When you're writing down those wins, have 2 different color pens. Like for me, it's blue and red, right? Mm-hmm. In the Bible, all the important things, not all the important things, but when Jesus talks, it's in red, right? And so have a red letter day. Have a red letter. Like when I write down those those wins.
Yep.
If I write down all of my wins or most of my wins that are red, that's a red letter day.
Yeah.
That means I had a red letter day. I made progress that day, right? And if I don't have any red in my comments, then I got to go and I got to adapt. Like, what could I have done to make this a red letter day, right? What could have been better? I could have got better sleep. I could have gotten up earlier. I could have had some protein before I went and worked out. I could have, whatever it was, I could have skipped that beer or whatever didn't make me have that great workout the next day. And so when I look at these 10 things, okay, these are 10 things that there's nothing on here that not every single person listening can do.
That's right.
And all you have to do is start to do it, right? Is just have to start. Write out your goals. Hey, I'm hitting the mental block. I can't do my goals. I can't find my vision. Find it. Do whatever you got to do. Read about it. Continually learn. Hey, the continual learning. I haven't found a good book. I've been reading 3 crummy books in a row. Change it, right? It's like all these things, these 10 things should be somewhere in your life to where you recognize them, whether it's up on your vision board, which mine's right over here, or wherever it is, these 10 things. What am I doing? Am I doing these 10 things? Am I doing 7 of them? Because like you said, I mean, we get one life. You get one chance of this. And it might as well be great. And if your life is great, then you're going to influence other people's lives and make their lives great. And that's what we're called to do. Nick, any final thoughts before we wrap this up?
No, but the guy that's going to send us out of here says the perfect starting point for all 10 of these.
Yeah. And Nick, because you're on a roll with that. You lead us out of here with that then.
Well, hey, we're going to leave here with the famous words of Earl Nightingale and the inspirational words of Earl Nightingale. Take it away, Earl.
Here's the key to success and the key to failure. We become what we think about. Now let me say that again. We become what we think about.
Thanks for listening to the Breakaway Wealth Podcast. Be sure to subscribe to this show wherever you're listening so you never miss an episode. If you want to start increasing your wealth building ability right now, go to community.createtailwind.com to join our free online community and get access to free, in-depth training designed to help you build real, lasting wealth. See you next week.